Stepping into project management for the first time can feel a bit like opening a puzzle box that doesn't have a picture on the front. Everybody expects you to keep things on track, but in your head you're thinking, oh, is there a manual for this? If that sounds familiar, don't worry, you are absolutely not alone. Hi, I'm Adriana Girdler, project management expert and creator of the Slay project management system. And I've taught thousands of people just like you a simple, practical, step-by-step way to run projects effectively. In today's project management training video, I'm going to walk you through the essential project steps that every beginner needs to know. And by the end, you'll understand exactly what to do at each stage of a project, and you'll feel a whole lot more prepared to take the lead. Get clarity on your project. Before you jump into planning, assigning tasks, or booking meetings, the first thing you need to do is get absolute clarity on what your project actually is. This is part of the initiation stage, and it is so important because it sets you up for success later on. In fact, one thing I always tell my students is this: projects don't fall apart in the middle, they fall apart at the beginning. That's because most of the delays and frustrations that show up on projects happen because it wasn't defined, or worse yet, aligned properly at the start. So your job in step one is to clarify anything that's fuzzy. Start by meeting with your sponsor, the person who wants the project, and ask the big questions like, 1, why is this project even happening? 2, what problems are we solving? 3, what does success look like? And 4, what are the must-haves versus the nice-to-haves? Then you'll take all that information and turn it into a simple scope statement. This is a document that outlines what's in scope, what's out, and what key deliverables are expected. Doesn't need to be fancy, but it gives you a solid foundation. Without this clarity, you will end up guessing, and guessing always leads to rework. Now, once the scope is clear, have a discussion about priorities. In every project, something has to be flexible, either scope, time, or budget. Understanding which one is fixed helps you make smarter decisions along the way, especially when people come to you with changes or new ideas. Finally, you'll start the second stage of your project, which is planning, where you bring everything together in your project charter. This really is one of the most important documents in your entire project. It summarizes the purpose, scope, and by the way, you take the information you put into your scope statement and just plop it in here. And the timelines, rules, and assumptions that the project is built on. And once your sponsor formally approves it, well, it becomes your anchor. When questions come up, when someone challenges the scope, or when new request appears, the charter is what you refer back to. When a project starts with clear, aligned charter, well, everything that follows, let me tell you, is smoother. Your team knows what they're doing, you know what to prioritize, and your sponsor knows exactly what they're approving. This alignment at the beginning is what prevents confusion, scope creep, and more importantly, frustration later on. Get this step right and you will set your entire project up for success. Before we dive into the next step, I got something for you you won't want to miss. Have you checked out my free webinar yet? If you've ever felt stuck or overwhelmed mid-project, well, chances are it's because some key steps were skipped right at the beginning. In this training, I'll walk you through exactly how to set your project up for success from day one. It's packed with practical tips you can start using right away. The link is below. Don't wait to check it out. It's free, and it might just be the game changer you need. Step 2, break the work down. Okay, the next step of project management training, after you've clearly defined your project, is to break the work down into pieces you can actually manage. Beginners often want to skip straight to creating a timeline, but before you can figure out when things happen, you need to understand what needs to happen. That's where the work breakdown structure, or we call the WBS, comes in. It's simply a way of organizing your project into logical chunks. Start with the big buckets of work, then break each one into smaller, more specific activities. You're not looking for every tiny detail, just a clear, high-level outline of the major components of your project. As a project manager, you are the organizer, the guide, the strategist, not the lone problem solver trying to figure out everything out by yourself. So you're not sure what all the pieces of work should be? Well, talk to your subject matter experts and ask questions so you can get clarity on the work involved. Once your WBS is outlined, you'll have a clear picture of the real work involved, which sets you up beautifully for what comes next. Step 3, build a timeline. Okay, now that you've broken your project into manageable chunks, it is time to turn that information into a simple, realistic timeline. This is where your project starts to take shape. And for beginners, it's often the first moment where everything clicks. Start by looking at your WBS and identifying the order of the major tasks. Some things will naturally need to happen before others, and some can happen in parallel. You don't need exact dates yet. Just focus on the sequence and the flow of work. Next, estimate how long each task will take. And here's my pro tip. Don't build your schedule assuming everything will go perfectly, because it won't. In my SLAY project management training, I teach my students to add buffers where things are uncertain or where you know there are risks or dependencies. This is how you build a realistic timeline instead of a hopeful one. Once you've laid everything out, highlight the key milestones, the big moments that show meaningful progress. These give your team something to aim for and help you communicate the project direction clearly. Your timeline doesn't need to be complicated. A simple table, spreadsheet, or calendar-style outline is more than enough at this stage. The goal is to create a visual roadmap that helps everyone understand how the project will unfold. With a clear and realistic timeline in place, you're ready for the next step, bringing your team together and officially kicking things off. Step 4, launch the project. With your timeline in place, it's time to bring your team together and officially kick off the project. Now, remember, you're still in planning stage here, and this is your chance to set the tone, create alignment, and make sure everyone understands what you're doing and how you'll be working together. Start by walking your team through the big picture, why this project exists, and what success looks like. Review the key points from your charter, your timeline draft, and the high-level pieces of your WBS. You don't need to go into every detail. You're simply helping everyone see the same vision. Next, set clear expectations for how the team will work together. How often will you meet? Where will documents live? How should people provide updates? Laying this up front prevents confusion and helps your team feel supported, not left guessing. Now, I'm just covering the high-level basics here for this meeting, but understanding that your kickoff meeting can last an entire day with all the things you need to do. But I cover all of this in my SLAY project management course, so check it out if you do want more details. You'll also want to introduce the idea of change control at this meeting. Keep it simple. Project changes, well, that's normal, and there's a process for evaluating the request. It isn't about being rigid, it's about protecting the project and keeping things on track. So you'll want to simply explain what qualifies as a change and how to submit one. I recommend using a change request form, and that's one of the many templates included in my course. Now, after the kickoff, translate your WBS and timeline into a simple action plan. Assign owners, due dates, and give your team a clear place to update their work. This becomes your shared source of truth as the project progresses. Strong kickoff combined with a clear action plan sets your team up with confidence and alignment, and it officially launches your project on the right foot. Step 5, keep everyone informed. Once your project is up and running, well, you're now in execution stage, and this is where communicating well with your team and project stakeholders is vital. Communication is truly the heartbeat of any successful project, because when people know what's happening, what's coming next, and what needs attention, everything runs more smoothly. So start by setting a simple, predictable rhythm for updates. This could be weekly or bi-weekly reviews or whatever makes sense for your project. The key is consistency. Your team should always know when updates are expected and how they should share them. I always encourage my students to use their action plan as the main communication tool. Instead of having long status meetings, which I hate by the way, where everyone reports in person and are saying what are they doing and what's next, I'm telling you it's not productive. I have people in their action plan update their tasks accordingly. This saves you from having to chase them down, keeps everything clear and transparent, and more importantly, promotes accountability because there is visibility for everyone on all the tasks and the due dates. Now, you also want to encourage your team to communicate often with you as well. You want them to raise concerns early, whether it's a delay, a risk, or a change in their availability. You much rather hear about an issue when it's small and manageable than when it's grown into a roadblock. Finally, be clear and concise and calm in your own communication. Whether you're speaking to your team, your sponsor, or your stakeholder, your goal is to keep everyone aligned and confident in the project, that it's in good hands. Good communication doesn't just keep your project on track. It builds trust, strengthens relationships, and helps you stand out as the leader. Step 6, plan for risks before it happens. Now, before you move deeper into execution, there's one thing you want to think about, and that's risk. Even with a solid plan and strong communication, unexpected issues will come up, and projects rarely run in a straight line, which is completely normal. What matters is how prepared you are when things shift. Take a little time with your team to brainstorm what could go wrong and how you would handle it if it did. This doesn't need to be complicated. You're simply identifying the most likely risks and talking through a basic contingency plan for each one. Now, this is one step that definitely more effective to do in person than, let's say, on email, because people think more clearly and share more ideas when they're face to face. Now, once you do get together with the team to brainstorm possible risks, keep in mind that the goal of risk planning isn't to predict every possible problem. It's to give you and the team some breathing room when risks show up. Because when you're prepared, you can make calm, strategic decisions instead of scrambling at the last minute. And that's one of the hallmarks of a strong project manager, even a beginner one. Step 7, stay on top of everything. As your project moves into monitoring and control stage, your job is to keep an eye on how things are progressing and step in early when something needs attention. This isn't about micromanaging your team. It's about keeping your finger on the pulse of your project so you can guide it calmly and confidently. So, start by reviewing your action plan regularly. Look for tasks that are slipping, dependencies that may cause delay, and areas where someone may need help. You don't have to wait for a crisis to show up before you take action. In fact, spotting small issues early is what prevents big problems later. If you see something that doesn't look right, talk to your team members directly. Ask what's going on and what they need and how you can support them. Most issues are easy to manage when they're caught early, and in the long run, your team will appreciate a proactive approach. And remember, it's completely normal for projects to shift. Timelines change, priorities move, new information comes up. Monitoring isn't about keeping the project perfect. It's about keeping it steady and adjusting quickly when needed. Step 8, protect against scope creep. As your project progresses, people will inevitably come to you with new ideas, extra requests, or just one more thing they think should be added. Some of these suggestions may be great, but adding them without thinking about what their impact does have well, that's potential to derail your project. This is actually called scope creep, and it's one of the biggest reasons projects run into trouble. This is where the change control process you introduced back at the kickoff meeting becomes super important. When someone asks for a change, just don't say yes. Please don't. Even if they're a senior person, have them fill out a change request form so you can understand what they're requesting. Then take a look at what exactly is changing. How will it affect your timeline, your budget, and your team? And more importantly, does it align with the project priorities you established at the start? You're not saying no. You're simply evaluating the impact so you can make a smart decision. If the change makes sense, bring it to your sponsor or steering committee for approval. If it doesn't, your priority matrix and charter give you the support you need to explain why it's not the right move for the project right now. Good project managers don't avoid change. They manage it strategically. And when you follow a solid change control process, you protect your project, your team, and yourself from unnecessary stress and unplanned work. For more tips on this, check out my project management training video on the topic. Go to the YouTube search bar and type Adriana Girdler, scope creep. Step 9, close the project properly. Once you've delivered the final pieces of your project, you move into the closing stage, when it's time to close things out properly. This step is often overlooked, especially by new project managers who are eager to move on. I get it, but closing a project well is just as important as starting it well. Project closure isn't just about paperwork. It's about learning, appreciation, and wrapping everything up intentionally so you're set up even better for the next project you manage. You'll start by confirming that all the deliverables are truly complete. Check them against your project charter to make sure everything you promised, well, that it's been fulfilled. Then get final sign-off from your sponsor or stakeholder. This gives the project a clear, official finish line and ensures you and your team don't end up hearing, "Oh, we thought you were also doing this other thing too." Because let's be honest, no one wants a project stretching on forever. Now, depending on the size of your project, you may need to set up a skeleton team to oversee and observe whatever it is that you implemented with your project. You'll also need to communicate the official closure of the project to your stakeholders and wrap up documentation properly as well. And I do cover all of this in detail in my course. You'll also want to take some time during this stage to reflect with your team on what went well and what could be improved. This doesn't have to be complicated. A simple conversation or quick meeting to do an after-action review works perfectly. The goal is to capture lessons you can carry into your next project so you continue to grow and refine your skills. Finally, don't forget to celebrate. Whether it's a quick thank you message or a team shout out or something a little more fun, acknowledging your team's hard work, let me tell you, it goes a long way. It builds morale, strengthens relationships, and closes the project on a positive note. Step 10, yay, keep learning as a project manager. So you've gotten to the end of the stages of the project, but we all still have one more step because we can't talk about project management training for beginners without talking about your growth as a project manager. If you want to keep building on what you've learned today, my SLAY project management training gives you the practical tools, templates, and more importantly, real-world guidance to run projects confidently in any organization. It's designed to help you grow your skills faster and become the kind of project manager people rely on. So be sure to check it out. The link is below. So there you have it. Project management doesn't have to feel overwhelming when you're a beginner. If you understand what to do at each stage and you invest in your own learning, that's what sets you up for long-term success. If you want to go to the next step with me and you want to learn more at a premium level, you can enroll in SLAY Project Management. It's the exact process I use for all my clients, including all the tools you'll need. I've put the link in the description box below. If you're looking for more project management training for beginners, check out this series next. It's packed with practical tips for how to avoid the most common project management mistakes. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you found this video helpful, I'd be grateful if you gave this video a thumbs up. See you at the next video.